Now the camp is seething confusion. Pistols, klaxons, washpan drums, shouts, shrieks, prayers, groans, curses contribute to the din. Gas, gas, gas. Now and then from the melange of sound comes a coherent cry. Where the hell's my gas mask? I can't find my gas mask. Let me take yours. This latter, a crazed, anguished shriek. Then the smothered reply, go to hell. Little Tommy Murphy, dazed and half asleep, crawls out of his pup tent and looks around. Suddenly realizing the import of the racket, he dives back in again. Blankets, clothes, general equipment come flying out in rapid fire disorder, accompanied by shrieks which grow steadily in volume. I can't find it. I'm gassed. I'm dying. The pup tent is suddenly uprooted and kites upward into a tree. It's gone. I'm gassed. I'm gassed. A member of the masked rabble stops his rush through the woods long enough to point out to Johnny the missing mask. It's been under his knees since the search began. Johnny claps it to his face, sticks his nose into the clip, and faints. He has had too much for one night's entertainment. Private Steele, on his way back from the engineer's dump with a bucket of water, comes tearing into camp, holding his nose and breathing through his mouth. He's still carrying his bucket. One man near the gas non-com's tent gets his mask adjusted and sits down. The first thing that meets his touch is a piece of broken trachea tube. So he's saying the tube to the gas mask. He realizes, oh, it's cut. It's already broken. He says, and he joins the senseless rush through the jungle. His agonized wail echoes after him. It's broken, the tube's off. Get me a new one, quick, for God's sake. It was a false alarm. There was no gas. The only casualties are barked shins and bruised heads. The men are coming sheepishly back to their wrecked shelter tents, but the alarm has had its wholesome effect. The gas mask has ceased to be just an incubus. It has assumed a personal relationship. Now they know. But I wanted to share this, and just especially to realize over and over again, and they're just kids. They're just somebody's children.
Just like they are now.
Just like they are now.
So like when there's, a mob, a crowd, and the cops come in and they gas people, it's obviously not the same kind of gas, so
Well,
this was more deadly than they used to use.
well, the gas that they're using now, that the police use, is the tear gas. It's called a lacrimator. So all that's supposed to make, it'll make your nose, your eyes run, and it'll make it hard for you to breathe.
It's just tougher. Okay.
Right. That's gentle compared to what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I was just trying to understand
Oh, exactly.
the big difference between the two.
But there's still countries that use nerve gas.
And that's like the sarin, the nerve agents, and those are the toxic ones that will end up causing the poisoning. So the worst weapon of all would be like that Lewis site that does all the above.
I know when my husband went into the Army, they issued atropine selects to counteract that, and they said, you've got so many seconds to stick that thing in your body to counteract that nerve gas.
Yeah, then that's been constantly trying to develop antidotes, for the exposure,
What was some of this stuff, didn't the international community outlaw this to some degree in warfare? I know it's still used by terrorist groups and all that, but when was that? Was that the Geneva Convention?
They tried to do that right after, shortly after World War II, like 1949. But
Okay.
the problem has been just what you're saying, the countries that have stockpiled it. And
Right.
the worrisome thing is, when would they use it? Like, if Saddam Hussein would use it on the Kurds, how much faster would he use it on American troops?
Or Israel, or whatever. But they didn't use gas much in World War II.
Well, and part of the interesting thing, that's an odd twist in the history, we had stockpiled gas in bombs. And we told Germany, if you use gas on our troops anywhere, we will drop the gas on the cities. We'll start dropping gas shells on the cities by airplanes. And so the threat was of retaliation. If you're not prepared to take it, nip it in the bud, they'll use anything. That's been the dilemma for a place like Korea, even now, with North Korea. But I'll go through some of this, and please, you have questions as you come up with them. I love this. The Americans had an amazing sense of humor. They still do. They'll cope with so many things. This is them cutting up in the gas mask here. And it was a real common pun in World War I era, the long and the short of it. Well, this is the long and the short of it. The short fellow here, these two Yankee engineers ducked into their gas masks. Just so you'll know the pair if you ever run across them in France, the shorter one is Corporal George Fuchs, the long one, Private Anton Weber. They get a laugh from the townsfolk whenever they're seen together. Anton is 6 foot 7.5 inches, and Fuchs is 5 foot 4 inches. These are American officers putting on the gas mask, and it's a big process. See the guys, the one helmet's already back on. What has to happen, and this is the fellow adjusting it here, the one officer on the other side, you can actually see the gas at their feet. So some photographer had to sit there in that, wearing his mask, and be able to take the picture. Never underestimate the Americans. And the way that would work, you'd have the helmet on, the steel helmet. The first thing you do is knock the helmet off so you can get the head down, hold your breath immediately, take the gas mask out of the bag. And this is one that's typical. This is what they call an attic-fried gas mask. So many of the guys would store this stuff in the attics, and the heat over the years will cause this to become real brittle. And you have helmets off, you get the gas mask on. As soon as you get the gas mask on, it's theoretically filled with gas too. So you have to crush the mask against the face to get the gas out. They have a nose clip here that goes on to close, no breathing through the nose. Can you imagine hour after hour of having your nose pinched off? You have to get the mouthpiece in. That's the rubberized mouthpiece. That would then be like a mouth guard. You would have it in your mouth. And then the flutter valve here would allow you to exhale. And the tube, if it's attached like it's supposed to, goes down to the carbon-activated charcoal filter that then actually would filter the air being breathed through it.
Do they have to replace the filter from time to time?
Yeah, the filter was supposed to be good for about 12 hours.